What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome back to the Unstructured Live podcast. This is the after show of House of the Dragon. I almost said Game of Thrones. I was so hyped. I was so excited for it. I was like,
Yeah.
what even ready? How are you doing? By the way, I'm Lion. This is my co-host E. I forgot to name Mr. E here. How are you doing today?
I am doing very well, Lion. How about yourself?
I am excellent, especially after today. We had our premiere of House of the Dragon. I want to say
Yeah.
hello to anyone watching right now. And by
Hi.
the way, this show is sponsored, is brought to you by
3E Customs. They print for you, whether promotional products or t-shirts, whatever your design is, they can put it on a product for you. Go to 3ecustoms.com.
That's right. They made that beautiful shirt you have on, correct?
Yes, they did. Love it.
Excellent,
and
excellent.
it's Bella Canva as well, so super soft.
That's not bad at all. The website is on the ticker down the here, so check them out. They make really great products. But let's get into the show. Yeah, man, we had our first live show a little bit over a week ago. How
Yeah.
exciting that was, right?
A lot of fun, which is why we say, hey, let's do it again. And why not do it on this special occasion right here?
That's right. We had to do it. I've been looking forward to this show for 2 long years. I want to say 2 years, since the announcement of HBO Max. If you know me, I was a huge Game of Thrones fan. I actually read part of the Blood and Fire book where this show it takes inspiration from. I am familiar with some of the scenarios here. So, man, it was great to see everything come to life. What was your first impression of the show, Mr. E?
I love the way that they gave the background story, but the impression that I take from this is that they are bringing it because it was super graphic with the violence.
To say the least, my man.
I smack your face off.
We're gonna get into it, but there was one scene that was like, holy Jesus! I'm like,
Yeah.
but they start out the show. It was cool because they start out the show with a good contrast. They show us King's Landing, and they show us a dragon in the first couple minutes of the show going in. You know why this is important? Because when we first saw Game of Thrones, the first episode, dragons were a myth. Magic was a myth. It was not something that existed in the world at that particular time. So what better way to do a prequel from a time where this is real, this is happening, and show us the dragon. Don't hide it. Boom, from the beginning. We see King's Landing, we see a dragon flying over, and we are in this world. We are seeing the Targaryen in their glory. Because when we start Game of Thrones as well, there was no Targaryens inside except for Daenerys and Viserys, her brother, and that was pretty much it. We see how glorious their empire is and how complex with all the political complexities that they have between them.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of political stuff going on. There's a lot of you can see the beginnings of the workings behind the scenes, and you can see also how they're trying to get in the ear of the king and get him to do their bidding. So it's very interesting. I love the way that they set the scene. I love the very beginning where they showed, just like you were saying, Lion, how the Targaryens really didn't have a care in the world. They had 10 dragons and life was good. Everybody, for the most part, was staying in order. No words.
Yeah, certainly. And the theme of this episode was the succession. Who was going to be heir to the king? The first scene we have is the old king Jaehaerys, if I'm not mistaken, Jaehaerys. I may be butchering this name. It's gonna take me a couple of weeks to get the names right. I'm gonna be rewatching this right after we finish the show.
There's a lot of names, and I am not good with names, so we're gonna learn them as we go. But forgive us for this one episode.
No, let me know in the comments if you guys remember all the names. And I read some of the stuff, and like I know Rhaenyra, I know Viserys the First, I know Daemon Targaryen, I know Aegon. But some of the other names it's just too many names that sounds the same. And, I have to study up on them a little more until they become familiar. I'll tell you this: when I originally watched Game of Thrones, it took me about a month to really get the names and the families and who's with who. Right,
Yeah,
and you told me I watched the episodes like 3 or 4 times each time, just so I can grasp the story. This was a little easier to consume. I'm a little more familiar with how the writing goes. So yeah, man,
exactly.
like so much thrown at you. So yeah, we start with a succession where we see a decision had to be made between Viserys and his brother who was gonna succeed. Viserys wins, and his brother has that desire to be king as well. And we see him since Viserys doesn't have a male
He doesn't have
heir.
a male heir at all.
Yeah,
Exactly, and
Viserys,
that
Daemon is supposed to be the one. So
yeah.
we see how things pan out throughout the episode, what it leads to having Rhaenyra be the one assigned as the heir at the end of the episode.
Yeah, and you see right there, she's the most equipped, obviously, to become the heir. However, because of her sex, and they're showing how sexist they were during that time, because she was a girl, quote unquote, they didn't want to consider her until it was the last possible choice, because Damon was somebody that they did not want to give the throne to, because they feared that he would reign in tyranny and the kingdom would be split apart. So it's interesting to see that play out, and how they basically get backed into a corner, and then they have to make a decision.
No, certainly they truly were back into a corner. And there was one moment because I kept rewinding some parts. That's why it took me so long to get everything ready
Mhm.
and go live. Because as I was watching the show and preparing the live, I'm like, well, I gotta go back, gotta make sure I get this, I get all of it. Because normally I would rewatch an episode at least 2 times just so I can
Yeah,
grasp everything.
exactly.
We're still fairly new to doing the live, but man, I feel like a kid. Like today, just watching this episode, I was excited from the beginning, seeing all the complexities and everything going down.
Yeah,
Um, I
it was.
love the tournament. I love the tournament.
Thank you for bringing that up. The tournament really showed who's who, and what was what, and what was going on, because that is like it's the show, it's the main event, it's like going to the club. There's a hierarchy within this scene, and you see that Damon, up until the point, is top dog, almost to the point where, if he wanted to, because he is the leader of the Night Watch, and he controls, and we need to touch on that too. He
It
controls,
runs the city guard.
yeah, his city guard. He controls an army of 2,000 fierce soldiers, right? And they show how fierce they are when they cleaned up the street for the tournament, because they were dismembering people. They had to get 2 wagons to cart off the body pieces, the body parts, and everything.
Quick sidebar. There was one scene there where they pull some guy's pants down, and we had this butt shot. I'm
Oh
like,
my
okay,
god!
I get the idea. Why we have to have the butt shot in there? I
Yeah,
don't know what they cut off. I don't know if it was
yeah,
the guy's
no,
skin or
yeah.
something,
You know
but
exactly what they cut off. Right? They cut
I'm
off
like,
his
what?
head. He got turned into a, what is a eunuch? He got turned
Yeah, I
into a
mean,
eunuch real quick. Oh my
I don't
gosh.
know. There's not too many places you can go after there. I mean, brutal. Damon.
Yeah,
It shows how brutal Damon is, and Damon. At the end of this episode, we can see that Damon is not happy with how everything panned out. This is leading to some kind of war or fight against Rhaenyra and Viserys in the future. That's basically what we're leading to.
exactly. You can see how the lines split off, and just like you said, Rhaenyra and Viserys are on one side, and Daemon, and who was the other girl? I forget her name. I think it was Alicent Hightower. Yeah,
Allison, Hightower.
Alicent. Yeah, Alicent is on the other side. So they sort of leave the scene, or the episode, where it's like, well, what's Damon's next move? Is he going to charge the throne, or is he going to do his follow his orders and go back to the tower? So I'm very curious about the second episode, because I mean, this one, it ran long and there was a lot in it, and we got a lot of questions. I got a lot of questions still.
No, I mean, so many things that are happening, and we see where things are leading. If you're a fan of the books, you know that conflict is at the heart of anything in this particular world. Um, Another thing that I want to touch on, the 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 pregnancy was something that was
Yes,
another
that's
sub layer, or a theme that was going through the whole episode. We have from the beginning when Rhaenyra is talking to her mother. She's like, you know
big.
what? I much rather be a knight than a lady. Call back to Arya Stark, that she wanted to be a knight and necessarily a lady. And her mom said, "Listen, our battlefield is not out there; it's in the delivery room."
Oh, yeah.
That's basically what she tells her, and that doesn't sit too well with her because she wants to be a warrior, she wants to rule, and it looks like she's gonna get her wish.
It was foretelling and so sort of forecasting that they put that line in there because she got, just like you said, line, she got her way. And that's what was in her heart, even more to the point that I'm talking about Rhaenyra, that she didn't want to be a traditional woman in that sense in time. She wanted to be something different, something new, and there wasn't a pathway for her, but it still was in her heart. And at the end, she got her wish. She was anointed as the heir to the throne, and everybody had to pledge fealty to her, which was groundbreaking for the time because they haven't had a female heir in over 100 years, and it was huge. I want to get back to Lion because we touched on it briefly. The jousting, that event, and how
Tournament, yeah.
bloody it was, tournament, how bloody it was, and how much the crowd thirsted, one, for blood, two, the violence was normal, and well, maybe not completely normal because they did have one guy throw up, which is kind of funny because you never saw that in the Game of Thrones, but this guy, but they just went at each other, and
The water boy was throwing up.
yeah, exactly.
I was the water boy. The guy's like, "Oh man, I didn't sign up for this stuff."
Oh, man. Yeah, so it gave you a sense of what the times were like and what you could do, what you can't do, and also the relationship with Daemon and his brother was very close until the end, until Daemon celebrated, like you said, Lion, the death of his brother's wife. She died in childbirth, which they mentioned this at the end of the episode. Childbirth was very, very complicated, and the infant mortality rate, as well as the mother giving birth, her chances of living were very low. Yeah, they weren't.
Let's talk about that for a minute. So we see that the birth of having a male heir was a big thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's telling him, "Listen, I already lost 5 kids or 5 pregnancies. After this, we out. If this doesn't work out." And we see that Viserys the First has to make a very pivotal decision, a very tough decision. Nobody wants to be put in that position to save one or to lose them both. I mean, you put it that way, like you gotta save somebody, I guess. And basically, they were alluding to like some kind of cesarean procedure that was very barbarian and very brutal.
Thank you. And it was difficult to watch, and
Yes.
even though they cut away from it during the
No pun
worst
intended.
parts, yeah, sorry, no. Even though they cut away from it during the worst parts, it still was terrible, and it was like a betrayal. They butchered her, and it was hard to watch because he didn't tell her. He just had them hold her down, and they cut her open. And she was crying for mercy. She didn't know what was going on. She just know that she was being betrayed.
I love you.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, that was tough to see. She was being held down while something's being cut out and carved out of her, and at the end, the baby didn't make it.
And the mother, the baby still died, and the mother died. So it was all for nothing. And she died knowing that she was betrayed by her husband, which is worse for the husband. And he is deeply guilty. And he doesn't know what to do with himself. And then he hears that his brother is celebrating that he is now the heir,
the official heir to the throne.
Exactly.
Man.
And so Viserys immediately changes that and makes his daughter the new heir, and makes it official by everybody pledging fealty.
Let's keep it real. That's his sister-in-law. How you gonna say heir for a day? Like,
Yeah,
Why? Like in
that's
public?
pretty grimy. Yeah,
Come on.
that is really, really grimy. I mean, even if other people started chanting at first, yo, you got to shut that down. That ain't even cool. That's on no
No.
level is that cool. So yeah, you
So I
messed up.
was like, my man, if you want to be the heir, this is the moment that you shut your mouth, you support your brother. That's the
Exactly.
play for you. Be
Yeah.
there for your family. But he was so blinded. Well, I want to be heir. I want to be king. I want to be king. You get none of it. None of it.
Exactly. And so he said that his brother Damon said that his brother Viserys was one being taken advantage of by all the people around him, and two never wanted his brother Damon around him, and those things remained continued to be true because Damon got sent away. So now, as we mentioned before, we're waiting to see what is the next step that Damon takes, because he gave away a secret, and we're going to see how important that secret is, how valuable that secret is, and also he leaves on a dragon. Did he come in on a dragon? We didn't see him come in.
I think they at the time, I believe they all had a dragon.
Okay.
So I may be wrong. I have to rewatch the episode, but I believe that was his dragon.
Okay.
I guess that was his wife. I thought that was like a prostitute at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because when they were in that room by their own, trying to have some bedroom fun, the man couldn't perform because he was so worried about, man, I'm not gonna be the heir anymore. He couldn't perform right, you know. And at those times, they do not have any blue pills to help the man out. Everybody was watching him, and like, come on.
Yeah.
It's like you're going to bat, you're playing baseball, and they throw you, and you just strike out, humiliated.
Yeah,
this
was
plays into the man's psyche. No wonder he cut off the other guy's thing.
Yeah, that was a hell of a scene right there. Yeah, he definitely was being watched by like a whole audience of people. It was just crazy. It's like, where's the practice?
It was going to town there, but he has some weak sauce.
So
anyway, let's move away from that subject. Go ahead.
What were your thoughts overall? How would you rate this?
So I'm gonna give this episode, and we're gonna do the rating early on. We're still gonna talk more about the show. I'm giving the episode a 9. I really liked it. I was really hooked. I have to watch it again because there's always these sub layers of things. There were so many characters that are gonna play a bigger part later down the line. We saw the House Baratheon. At the end, we saw Rickon Stark. I believe that's the patriarch of the House Stark back in the north, the Wardens of the North. We saw the guy that beat
Western.
I'm sorry,
Sir Harold Western. I forget his name. The guy.
Rickon Stark.
Yeah, he was in Game of Thrones, the guy that can't die. I forget his name, but anyway, go on.
Dondarrion.
Yeah, go on. What were you saying?
Yeah. So we have Rickon Stark. We had the House Baratheon was present. House Hightower was present. So we have some of the reference that we've seen from the show, and it's cool to see this is what the beginnings are. These are 172 years before the events of what we know now as Game of Thrones, right? When the Mad King is dead and the whole Targaryen dynasty has been destroyed and dethroned by Robert Baratheon in Robert's Rebellion. So this is what we are seeing, what's taking place, leading to those events. What about you? What did you think about this episode?
I'll give this episode a 9 as well. It was like it got up there. It just didn't give you that climax. You know, it just didn't put the cherry on top.
Climax is important.
Exactly. it missed the cherry on top, but everything else, every scene was filled with details, information, and violence. So I love this episode. I wonder if they're still going to bring it on episode 2, or whether it's going to be more like a character building episode.
I don't know. With how the episode ends, so we see that the King Viserys the First finally decides, you know what, I'm gonna make my daughter the heir, but I have to tell her the secret, something that's been hidden, which is a very cool callback to the name of the books, A Song of Ice and Fire. He said that Aegon the Conqueror, one of the reasons he decided to come over to this side of the world when the actual place where the Targaryens come from was destroyed, the name's Case Valeria was destroyed, right?
Hmm.
was that he had a dream about a long winter, a great winter coming. And this is the winter that at the beginning of the Game of Thrones show, where everybody's talking about the long winter that brings the dead alive. And we know about the night walkers and etc.
Yeah,
So says that Aegon dreamt of this, and if the humanity is to survive this, a Targaryen must be sit at that throne to protect humanity, whether that's a king or a queen. So she needs to be strong enough to unite all the realms, and let's see if she can handle it. Because I think Damon is not gonna. This is not gonna sit well with Damon, and he's gonna be. He will send back to Dragonstone. He's gonna come back looking for revenge and looking to become king. What do
yeah,
you think?
yeah. No, I sort of feel like Damon's going to come back looking to become king. That is his main ambition, and it was stolen from him. So I think he's just going to take it by force. He has the means, he has the army. So why not? He has the money. Why not take it by force? You just, you and your brother just had an argument. Y'all fell out. He embarrassed you. The niceness is over.
Oh, we gotta shout out our man, the Sharper Coder blog. This is one of our day ones. We appreciate your
What up,
support
man?
through all the whole year, almost at a year anniversary. We
Yeah.
appreciate you so much.
What up, Sharper Coder Block? How's everything going, man? Appreciate the love, appreciate the support.
We'd like to hear from you. What were your thoughts on the episode? Anybody watching, what were your thoughts on the episode? Let us know. We'll have a discussion live as we're doing the live right now. So yeah, going back to the show, one thing that I really like when we had our live last week, one
Hmm.
thing that I said is, what was the music gonna be like? Because the music of Game of Thrones was very iconic, and I was expecting something new, but they gave us the same, just gave us a remix of it. What do you think?
Yeah. No, it had to be the same or something older. Like you definitely can't you can't deviate, because music doesn't get better as you go back in time. It gets worse. So it had to be something along the same lines, or else it would be unbelievable. So keep it the same, man. Why not keep it the same? You already had a hit show. I can't be mad at you. So I'm good with that.
Yeah, thank you so much for that compliment, Sharper Color Blog. We have to keep it real. We're not media guys. We're just two guys that really enjoy watching TV shows, movies. We give our unfiltered opinion, whether it's right or wrong. We just give it to you, and it is what it is. That's what we do here. But thank you
Yep.
so much for your support throughout the time. One thing that disappointed me, because there was some things that disappointed me, and one of those that stuck out from the beginning of the episode was we
Yeah.
did not get that epic intro. So when you watch Game of Thrones initially, you see
With the
that
house.
intro where you see the little you see all of the little houses, all the little gears
kingdom.
turning, and the whole map, everything coming alive. I didn't get that this time. I didn't like the intro. It was lacking. Hopefully, we get to see something better in the future. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, now that you mention it, I didn't even think about it. And that also is an iconic part of Game of Thrones. I don't know if they did it to be different or if they just they didn't feel like doing it, but it would have been nice to have seen that. But maybe their thought process was that they wanted to sort of like paint the picture as they go along, because that intro shows you the layout of the entire kingdom, right? All the
Yeah,
kingdoms.
yeah. It shows
So
you the map from Westeros, and then later on as the show progressed, they added things, new zones,
yes,
the other side of the world and stuff. So it was always interesting to watch. This is the only show that I ever watched the intro. I normally would skip through all of that. I would watch the intro. I love the song. I do like that they made a remix, although it doesn't hit as hard as the original. The original is
yeah,
a
it
classic,
doesn't.
in my opinion.
It doesn't. It's sort of like they took the edge off of it a little bit. Sort
Yeah,
of
it's a
double
little
jack
softer. It's like a
that.
pop.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
Bad Bunny of intros. I know. It's not bad. It's not bad at all, for sure. No, and I'm looking forward to next week. And one thing I didn't get to watch was the after comments of the directors of the episode, because we had to start the live. But that's something that I definitely want to check out and watch, because they always give you those little tidbits. Like I know, as I was starting the show, they were talking about why they added the name of the dream that Aegon had about the Song of Ice and Fire, which is the name of the books, right?
Yeah.
I want to hear more about that, about some of the other things that they added that sometimes you don't notice in that first watch through. There's always gonna be things put in here and there. That scene when Viserys the First is talking to Rhaenyra,
Mm-hmm.
and she's telling her the secret that they're cutting back to the different lords, pledging to be obedient and to protect the realm. And I mean, I know there was more to see there because you can see the little symbols and the emblems. I want to see who else was there.
Yeah, you're talking about the part after the show where the directors speak. So I did get a chance to see some of it, and they did talk about that ceremony, the fealty ceremony, and how it was critical, and also how what was it? Someone was passed over. I forget her name. I'm looking for her right now. I think it is. No, I can't remember.
While you look for it, Dash, thank you so much for your comment. Thank you for checking out the show. Yes, at least I do. I know we all want some. It was an epic. It's part of the atmosphere of the show. It became part of our routine whenever we watch this type of shows. I agree with you. We want that for sure. Hey, HBO, whoever's making the show,
bring it back.
Bring it back. We need it. That's gonna be. I'm pretty sure we're gonna. If you go on Twitter, by the way, Twitter is such a wild place. You go on Twitter, you're going to see people complain about it. Something that's gonna be brought up, and maybe for next season we may see an intro, a proper intro added to the show.
Maybe. I think her name was Sane. It was Steve Taus. I can't get his last name. Steve Toussaint's wife, the one that got passed over for Viserys during that first fealty ceremony. That's what I was talking about. So and I forget the point, but no, the directors were talking about how he passed over and chose Viserys over her because of her being a female, which sort of brought it back around full circle when they did pick Rhaenyra to be the successor, the heir apparent. So it was interesting to see that, when all along, if they hadn't let a woman be the queen, they may have not had that situation. Everything would have been different. So it's interesting to see that now. And also the other thing that they talked about was a thing that we touched on, which was the birth situation and how dire things were back then. So they really hit on that part pretty heavily. So they said that it was important for them to depict how dangerous it was during that time. So that's interesting.
No, certainly. I'm gonna check it out probably right after the show. I'm gonna be checking that out. This is the problem with me. So when I watch these shows, I get so into it. I'm gonna be watching anything that I can get my hands on. I'm gonna be trying to read, and I don't want to read too much ahead. I already read some of the Blood and Fire books, and I kind of have an idea where they're going. I'm sure they're not going to do exactly the same. So I am not going to judge them on that. I'm going to judge them what they actually do on the show. But that's my issue. I get so into this stuff that I want it now. I cannot wait.
What were your thoughts on a funeral ceremony?
I would say I would expect something like that. We have everyone surrounding the mother, and the dragon had to send her up with dragon fire. Very Targaryen of them. That's what I would expect happening at a Targaryen funeral.
But what about, more specifically, because the king was so paralyzed with pain and everything else, Rhaenyra had to call the dragon, set fire, right?
Yeah.
And so she's setting fire, cremating her own mother and her brother, and so that shows incredible strength on her part to do so, because she's a
new Daenerys. She essentially is a new Daenerys.
Yeah.
If you look at some of the promo materials for the show, they have a picture of Daenerys and you have a picture of Rhaenyra, and essentially they are making her out to be this is how we model Rhaenyra after the new Daenerys.
Yeah, she's a prototype for sure. She has incredible strength even at that young age. And how far along in this first season are we really going to get? Are we really going to see her development? Like, is it going to jump ahead to where she's ruling, or are we going to wait to see her rule? What do you think on that?
I think at some point in the season, and I don't know if this is true or not, but my feelings is that in order for her to really grow as a character, this series has to die. And we know
Yeah.
that in this type of show, anyone's up for grabs. We don't know exactly what's gonna happen, but in
Sorry.
order for her character to really develop and show that strength that Daenerys show,
Yeah.
she cannot have her father alive. And that's, I think, what we might see in next episode, or maybe before the season ends.
Maybe
I will say,
episode
I'm
3,
gonna call it
like
episode 5.
like
He's
Stark
done.
got
He's done.
in
Episode 5.
3, just like Stark, you're out. You are the weakest link. You're done.
For sure. You know, you peep that scene with Alicent and the King Viserys, in the room. You know, I think they were trying to swerve us because at some point we know that she's involved with the Hightower family.
Exactly.
But then she was giving some favor to Daemon Targaryen.
Exactly.
But maybe she has ambitions of being at a higher level, and she knows the king is now essentially single.
Yeah.
And he might be ready to mingle. So she's in that room consoling the king.
Why not touch on that? Because her own father sent her to seduce the king on the same day. Was it the same day or the day after that his wife had died? Yeah,
it was very soon. I know it was very, very soon.
That is wrapped up in all different types of craziness. She's super young, but as we know, during medieval times, I mean, this isn't medieval times, but there was young marriages or whatever, and so but her dad was more than happy to send her to the king's room to console him and all that other nonsense. It was just crazy, but it shows more to the point of how eager he is to gain power, because how powerful would he be if his daughter was the queen?
Now, let's keep it real. This show is all about politics and positioning yourself in a place that your family is assured power and wealth.
Absolutely.
We have a question from Dash. We're gonna answer in a little bit here. Let me just say this. I think that this is a political move from her father to assure their family's place. He knows that he went against Daemon, and they feel that Daemon is gonna come after Viserys and the kingdom as a whole, and putting your daughter, maybe she marries the king, and maybe she becomes somebody of importance. Maybe she can be, hey, listen, I'm young, I'm fertile, I can give you a male heir. She might become a enemy to Rhaenyra. She might become a threat to her.
That's what's going to happen, Lion. That's what's going to happen, because they're friends, right? And that friendship is not for long, because that's wherever things start off at is going to go the opposite direction. So you touched on it, Lion. So she's going to get in there, and I mean, your friend marries your father and then has a son and steals your heir away from you. That is all different types of turmoil. That is a great plot line. I love that plot line. That's a great plot line.
You want to address a question from Dash real quick?
Yeah, absolutely, Dash. I like that there are people of color, because let's be real. If we're comparing this to reality, if you go back into history, pre-medieval times, when things were a little bit different, Black people were all over the place. They even got into Europe, right? And the numbers weren't that high, but they popped up in different places. So I think having a few Black faces, a few people of color in this show is an accurate representation of what would have happened during that time, if some things are being equal in reality. So I thought that he looked super cool, super distinguished, and it was good to see.
Not just him, I'm assuming his kids, because his name is Corlys Velaryon. He's part of the Targaryen dynasty, It was cool to see because in the original Game of Thrones, we didn't see that too often. We had something later on in the show once we start seeing the traders in the other side of the world, and once we went to oh man, I can't remember that the Sun Spear. Man, I can't remember because that's supposed to be Spain, and we saw some more people that were a little bit different. But yeah, it was cool to see early on in the show and having a bigger role on it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It was really good. Big up to the House of Dragons for representing. That's what's up.
I gotta give it up to Matt. That's hilarious. He does. Matt Smith's doing a really good job. Out of all, I was gonna mention this. Out of all the characters, he convinced me about his character. Yeah,
Yes.
they all look. Even Rhaenyra, they look very much alike. They're keeping it all in the family.
Yes.
I mean, and that was the case because Aegon marries his
That's
sisters and so on and so on. So this is where we're at. So it's
And that's
not
what the Lannisters
uncommon
did
for that
too.
family.
Yeah, that's what the Lannisters did with the sister and brother. I
Yeah,
guess that's the case.
I was not expecting Matt Smith. Some of these actors sometimes don't get a really good character through the whole career, and finally see them. They see a role, and you have a really good casting director, and they catch that guy that put in the right place. He, out of all the characters, in my opinion, was the most believable. I think the weakest was Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra, I have something against her. I don't know what it is. I just didn't. She didn't
You think
convince me.
so? You think so? I
Oh
think
yeah,
I believed her.
Matt Smith. Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, I think I believed her, but yeah, Rhaenyra, there was one, and I have to find him that wasn't believable, but Rhaenyra and Daemon were believable to me.
No, certainly.
Yeah,
Man, we love your question, guys. Keep bringing them on, man, because we had a lot of fun watching the show for sure. And there's so many more questions that I haven't even beginning to think about. I gotta rewatch the show
yeah.
again.
I just went through my second viewing of the show while we're watching here, just skimming through. It is crazy. It is super crazy, and it's I can't wait until the next episode. It's crazy.
Max, yes, I'm a little bit familiar with the material from Fire and Blood. I read a little bit of it. I don't want to say too much on air just because if they really, I don't think they're gonna use all of it. I think they're gonna use some adaptation of it. They're gonna twist it around and they're gonna work on it because George R. R. Martin already gave the okay. I think it's gonna be even better than what he wrote. But I don't want to say because there's one thing that happens in Fire and Blood that I think we're seeing the foreshadowing of, and I don't want to throw it out as a spoiler because that's gonna be interesting and that's gonna be, no pun intended, it's gonna be fire. But yeah, I had read a little bit of it, and man, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I remember a while back reading about it, watching YouTube videos about it. I got so deep into this. It's crazy because I'm a huge fan of the show and some of the material, and I don't want to necessarily ruin the visual because having all that information ahead of time. Thank you so much for that question again, Max.
Lion, was that Darth Raki that Rhaenyra and Daemon were speaking?
No. That's Old Tom from the Targaryens.
Okay. I was trying to figure it out, and I was uncertain, but I was curious about that. It's like, how do they know that? Okay, but it's the old tongue, so that
No, it
makes
was French.
sense.
It was French.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
I was like, that did not sound French.
Joe, I got something to announce because
What's that?
last week we had our first live and we had a special guest. Hi Valerian. Yes, that's what it is.
Okay.
So last week we had our first live. We discussed House of the Dragon, what our expectations were, and we had a special guest. And now your mama knows the cowboy. Go check out the live from last week and chopping it up into some parts. So we'll see some more throughout the week. And shout out to the cowboy for sure for being such a good sport and showing so loving our first live ever. And I was chatting with him today. And hey, are you watching House of the Dragon today? Because he's seen Game of Thrones, he enjoyed it, but he watched it in one sitting. He doesn't really want to wait. But, well, I don't have HBO, and at that moment, I had to go for blasphemy. I'm like, come on, man, how do you not have HBO Max. We already talked about this. You need to have it. It's probably the best streaming service out of all of them, in my opinion, at least.
Seriously, HBO needs to give us a sponsorship deal because we are some of their biggest advocates. They have a whole slew of shows that the list is just ridiculous. Go on, line.
By the way, they got 40% off right now. They've been having a promotion that they can advantage that the show starting. So if you pay for a year, you get 40% off. I'm on one of those deals, so I'm not mad at it. Save money where you can, and that deal is pretty strong. As I always say, if you're paying too much, cancel, wait for a moment, and then take advantage of a deal. Yes, they do, man. Maker of Chaos, thank you for showing up. Thank you so much for your support. And they do have not some great titles. In my opinion, the best titles. You had stuff like Watchmen, True Detectives. Come on. So much.
You got Succession, you got Industry, they got Rap Shit. They got what is it, the Paradise Island or something that's coming up again, which was Vacation something Island.
Minx, hilarious.
Yeah, Minx was great. Yeah,
Curb Your Enthusiasm. Come on, man.
Oh my god. Come on, classics. Insecure.
But I gotta do something real quick. I'm gonna put myself on screen, right? Now this is the camera right here. I'm gonna issue a challenge to the cowboy and now your mama knows. And this is what I'm gonna say. Let me actually take this off. Okay, this is what I'm gonna say. I'm challenging you to enter the Lion's Den. This is what the Lion's Den is. We're gonna invite you over to the show, and we're gonna show you some trailers of some of the shows that are available on HBO Max. We want to change your mind. I'll even pay for 1 month of service. I want you to check out at least 1 or 2 episodes of each show that I'm gonna recommend, and I want you to let me know if it's worth it or not to sign up for this service. So I want you to come on the show. You let me know when. We'll plan it out. We'll schedule it, and we're gonna welcome you into the Lions Den, cowboy. Bring it on. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna discuss some shows, and you're gonna find some stuff that you're gonna love because this is the best streaming service out of all the ones out there, in my opinion. That's all I have to say. Let me go back to the share screen.
No, they got a lot of things going. It's the White Lotus. That's the show that I was talking about.
Oh, the White Lotus is great.
Oh my, yeah, absolutely. I mean, so many shows, really good. Let's switch real quick because Apple streaming service, they got a show on right now, Surface, which is really good, and it has a twist, which I kind of saw an episode before it actually came to fruition, but it was perfect. And it's not over yet, but go ahead and check that one out too.
No, I gotta check it out. Sharper Color Blog, yes. I had to rewind it a couple of times because I was like, wait, the guy was holding the baby.
Yeah, he was holding, and then the baby like coughed, and then it was like this. And then the king said when he was yelling at Damon, my wife and my son died. So, and that's why they had, actually before he said that, that's why they had the meeting, because they're like, we don't care if your wife and your son died. We need an heir for this kingdom. And that's why his men were pushing him for an answer.
Yeah, I mean, it was after the ceremony, Sharper Color Blog, but it was very quick because I don't know what the time frame was between the ceremony, but Hardar was like, it's on his watch. It's like, okay, 5, 4, 3. By the way, can you just check on the king real quick and see if you need some water, maybe some tea? Give me some milk of the poppy. I don't know. Give me something.
Wear one of your mother's dresses that she wears. Oh my gosh, like it's so bad on so many levels. So.
Let's say it wasn't a broad ending of Prince Balin. I thought there was some concern about the baby's health, but all he got was a glance, and then boom. Yeah, I agree. Like it was very quick. I didn't realize. I had to rewind a couple of times. Realize, you know what? He's gone. He's done. And I think the show should have done a better job of highlighting the fact that the baby did not make it.
Nah, man, keep it moving. I love the shows that don't sit there and say, "Hey, by the way, did you catch that other part?" I hate when they do that and when they explain stuff. Now, if we have to, let's rewind it if we missed it, but let's keep that action going, keep that plot line going. I love it.
Very good, very good. Yeah,
that's why I like watching the shows. Yeah.
No, man, and I mean, so many little things into the show. I'm trying to go back into my head, like, man, what else did I miss? What else did I miss? I tried to watch it so attentive, but I do have to go back. Maybe we'll do another video on like a proper review of the episode this week. But maybe when we talk about more when the cowboy comes in, because we need to get him on this. Come on,
Yes.
cowboy, you know this stuff.
It's all good. So I love this episode. They did not disappoint. I mean, HBO brought it.
By
There's
the way,
there was a lot of anticipation for this episode, a lot of buildup. I mean, anywhere you went on the internet, you saw an advertisement for this show for tonight, right? So there was a lot of hype, and they definitely set the bar high for themselves tonight. Unlike all the other series that they have, like, you know, they don't really talk about the premieres or the debuts. They just air them. They're like, people will watch it, and if they don't, then they'll catch up, and it's all good. But this one, they set the bar high, and they did not disappoint.
and there's two camps on the feeling of the show, because the last season of Game of Thrones disappointed so many fans, myself
Yes.
included, although I did enjoy the last episode of the last season. I mean, it wasn't as, I didn't feel as bad about it as so many people felt about it, but it wasn't up to the standard that we're accustomed to. So you have a camp that, no, this show is going to be trash. We already know what these people are doing. And there was
Yeah.
another camp that was excited for it. And when they were screening this show to a lot of people that were disappointed about it, they
Yep.
gave
They
great
loved-
reviews. You know, the show is
Yep.
pretty good. It got an 85% in Rotten Tomatoes. So I was already, you know what? This is going to look good. This is going to be a great show. It's not going to disappoint. Win this.
Lion, there is nothing better in the world than changing a hater's mind. Nothing better.
That's Rip Rock. Yes. once the baby was wrapped there, it was a wrap. And at that point, it was done.
It was a wrap for Balon.
But before that, I was like, wait, because they were talking about the whole succession thing. I was like, what's going on? So that was the most confusing part for me. That's why I had to rewind it to see what was going on here.
It took me a minute
Disappointed.
too. Yeah, it took me a minute too to figure out, because I was like, oh, it became apparent like once I saw Damon listening in, but they're like, let's talk about the succession. Who's gonna be your heir? And I was like, well, you got Balon, and then it was like, oh no, he's dead, or he's gone. We can't say that on the tube. He's gone, but yeah, it was. He's got to feel horrible about that, right? Because he just butchered, and I'm talking about the king. He just butchered his wife for nothing. I mean, he's got to feel terrible about that. And I mean,
But don't worry, he's gonna be in good hands. Allison's hand. That is my belief of the
let's
whole
talk
thing.
about. But Lion, there was some animosity from his daughter about his actions, right? There was about
she
his.
let her mom, you know.
Yeah. And so is that gone now that she's the heir, or is that still there?
That's still gonna be there. She's gonna have that resentment, although she's gonna be a little less concerned because she's going to be queen. But that's always gonna be a resentment she's gonna have towards her father. I completely feel that way about it. Let's see what's here. The best scene from the final season of Game of Thrones was the Hound on the mountain facing off in the staircase while a fire-breathing dragon flies overhead. That was a pretty cool scene. I have to admit that. I think my favorite, and it's a lot of people's favorite, was Arya dropping the dagger from one hand to the other to eliminate the Night's King. But that was the mountain
cool. Yeah.
and the Hound on the mountain. Yes, the Hound got a proper ending because the guy was so tortured. He was always not good enough, to face his brother since he was a little kid, and he finally got revenge. But he ended up going alongside his brother for sure. So yeah, that was a pretty cool scene.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, I like when Daenerys just became herself and burnt everybody up. It's like, if she has to be authentic to who she is, go ahead and do that. Like, don't betray the character and the storyline just to have a happy ending. I would have liked to have seen her be eliminated and the heir like sit on top of the throne and really take hold of that position, but I know that they had to end it quickly. But that's what I would have liked to see.
No, for sure. I wanted to say, I'm excited as well because this show I was excited about. I was disappointed they canceled one of the other prequels, but we are getting a sequel in essence of Game of Thrones with the Jon Snow show that's being developed right now.
Oh
That's
yeah,
exciting for me
I did
because
not
if
hear
there
about that.
was, yes, this is a Jon Snow show coming up. I don't even know if there's a trailer. I gotta check it out. If there is, we can probably watch it. But
So
man,
the sequel. So it's him and his wife then.
yeah, so Jon Snow, there's gonna be a sequel with him. You know, he went into the woods with the other folk. But that is a show that I'm excited about because this character was so mistreated. He did not get a proper ending because everybody wanted this guy to be king. And
You
it was
yeah.
like your swerve. We're gonna give it to to the
You
other
remember
kid.
how they treated him before the Red Wedding when his brother had the army and everything? Man, he was treated like the worse than the stepchild, worse than the troll underneath the bridge and everything. And then his older brother got eliminated in the Red Wedding, and they were like, I guess you're our only hope.
Yeah, it was like, oh well, you now are. Let me give you your name back. You are now starting. Like, no, I'm gonna keep it Snow. I'm gonna
Yep.
keep it Snow, and that's what I made famous. That's what I'm gonna be known for. He went back into the snow at the end of it. But man, what a great turnout! Thank you so much for everybody showing up. We had a lot of fun talking about the show. What was this? Jon Snow's headed somewhere north of the. Yeah, he was heading back to the snow
With
with
his
the free
wife.
folk. So yeah, that's where he
Yeah.
was going. Yeah.
Yeah, that is to see because they didn't spend that much time north of the wall. They had some time there, but they didn't spend an entire season just to see how life is up there. That'll be interesting, and I wonder if his wife is going to be with him too, because that'll be interesting as well.
But I think there may be a trailer. Let me see if I can play that for us. Let's see here.
Man, this
Bear with me.
the what was it? The tournament. This thing was gory. I mean, what about the time they got the what is it? What I don't know. The axe and hit off the guy's face and the, absolutely crazy. I'm rewatching it. Absolutely crazy. But did you come up with the name yet?
Well, no, I think I got a trailer here. Hold on. I was gonna access. Okay, let me give me a hard time here. Let's see. Let's move this here. Let's move this here. And
The other thing that I noticed is Rhaenyra's friend. She has a nervous twitch. She likes to pick out her nails. I think that's going to become an issue later on.
oh, I do want. I have a little thing a little idea of something that's gonna happen before I share this trailer. So there was a cut that King Viserys got on his finger. Do you think? Because we know that Viserys was the other person sitting on the throne. Did he put any kind of poison on there? Was there something that could have been put in there?
Did they Joffrey him?
No, I mean there was something that could have happened there.
Yeah. I mean, the Joffrey got it while he was sitting on the throne. Maybe.
Let me see here. I got the trailer, guys. It's coming. It's coming. Let me see if it works now. Where is it?
So
let me move my screen to a different place because it's just giving me a hard time with that. Let's move that
getting back
here.
to the nervous twitch. She did it when she was watching the tournament, and she also did it when her father told her to go to King Viserys's room. She became nervous at that time. So I wonder if that's like a telltale sign, or if that's something that she's going to have to overcome, if that's going to become an issue later, because she was picking her nails until they were bleeding, which is pretty excessive. Some type of compulsion or something like that, I'm guessing. But who knows whether it becomes an issue later on. But I do think that her and her friend Princess Rhaenyra are going to have some type of conflict moving forward, and I think that it's going to involve her dad, King, the king rather. So that's my thoughts, but we will soon see.
All right, bear with me here. It's not okay. Here we go. Wait. This thing is not cooperating with me. Just cancel that. Okay, let's move this back. Bear with me, guys. It's like new at the job today. Bear with me.
It's all
Can you
good.
hear me? Got me?
I can hear you.
All right, perfect. Now I got it now. Let's go back. Jon Snow trailer.
What we're waiting to see for anybody that's just joined is the trailer for the Jon Snow show, the sequel to the Game of Thrones. So what we might see is them north of the wall, which would be really, really cool. But we don't know yet as to where they're going to be. So, but like I was saying, Jon Snow has one of the best stories of the people still alive in Game of Thrones. There's some people that have as good as stories or maybe better stories, but they're not allowed to tell the tale in the Game of Thrones. So,
all right, well, let me share it. For some reason, it is what it is. I try, guys. I really wanted to show it, but for a reason, it doesn't want to let me share it. I don't know if something to do with YouTube, but we'll continue. We doubt it for now. Maybe next time we can show the trailer. But yeah, there is a Jon Snow show that's coming, and hopefully we get to see that sooner rather than later.
Yeah, man. Hey, we want to thank everybody.
Here we got Jon Snow has a sequel. That's right, Dash. Let's see, the tournament was some serious world building. Yes, it was. We see the politics, everything that's going on. We see a character in the Dondarrion that may play a key, because we see that Rhaenyra has some interest in him, and he actually beat Daemon in a fight. And Daemon's gonna come for revenge.
She said that the guy was Dornish. Does Dornish mean hot or ugly? Like
Dornish is they're great warriors. They're part of the Sun Spear. They're the only ones that were able to help back the Aegon the Conqueror when he was conquering the Seven Kingdoms. He was able to annex them by having the families marrying to each other. That's how he was able to come into an agreement. So that's the only realm that was able to go toe to toe with the Targaryens, and we see that in contrast because he was able.
Yeah, no, that was because he made Daemon. Not to interrupt, but just finish your statement. He made Daemon yield, which that was also a big moment in this episode too, because he either had to yield or he was going to die. One, he didn't want to die in front of everybody, but he also didn't want to yield because it's sort of like the big bad wolf, right? Everybody was scared of Daemon. He just terrorized the streets the night before, and now you have this guy who's Dornish who beats him. So that's I think that'll be something down the road. That's a good point, Lion.
No, for sure. Well, I think that's gonna be our show for today. I want to thank everybody so much for showing up, for all the comments. We love this show. We love having everybody here. We're just trying some different things with the channel, doing some live format. Let me know if you guys like the live shows. We want to maybe try to invite some of the viewers and come watch, come on the stream if you guys want. Let us know what your opinions are. We'll work something out for that. Okay, well, Sharper says something here. Let's see. Don't is where the Lady Olenna and the Red Viper came from. You got it. That's what I was trying to refer to. Where the Sun Spear, they are the only ones who were able to help back the Targaryens back in the day when Aegon was conquering the Seven Kingdoms. Well, guys, we want to thank you again for everything. If you're new to watching our channel, go ahead and like, subscribe, help our channel grow, share this with your friends. Let us know some topics or shows that you want us to check out. And we definitely want to eventually have some people back here. We are challenging the Cowboys, so hopefully we get an answer from him and we get him on the show again. What you got to say?
No, absolutely. I second what Lion said. Thank you for joining us and being a part of our show. We look forward to doing more live shows and having more people on the show as well. But until the next time, I am E, and this is Lion, and we are
Unstructured.
That's right.